Hello. So let's talk about Mosaic, which is one of the options for one of your final projects using food packaging. So, what is Mosaic? How can we do this? This is just my work in progress example here. So we've all been stuck at home, right? And we can't go out to eat as often as we want to. We're not eating, during lunchtime in the cafeteria or going out to Gone with the Wings or wherever we go for lunch. Um, so let's save up all those snack boxes and cereal boxes and microwave popcorn boxes and let's make some artwork with that. Okay, so what are we going to do with all these empty boxes? Um, Through this, we're going to learn about the art of mosaics. We will view some examples from different time periods and cultures. We will be using recycled or upcycled materials to create art. And we are going to demonstrate our knowledge and understanding of color theory and composition design, all of the things that we have learned all year. You're going to take all of those concepts and put them together and make an awesome piece of artwork. Okay, so um, mosaics have been around for an incredibly long period of time. They date back as far as ancient Mesopotamia, but we're going to look at some examples from like ancient Greece and on. Um, but we're not technically making a mosaic. Okay, so what is a mosaic? It's an assemblage composed out of what's called tessera, which are just small pieces of glass, stone, or other nature-based materials. Typically, tile is also used, pebbles, shells, all sorts of things can be used. And basically, those pieces are cut or they're small enough, and then we are placing them together to create a unified whole. Um, the tiles or fragments can be arranged into patterns, pictures, other decorative designs, and then those are held together. So typically it would be like on a floor or on something where you could put like tile adhesive and glue them down, and then you would fill in the space between with grout. Collage is from the French word coller, which means to glue, and those are typically made of various types of paper. So started back as far as when paper was first invented in China. Um, However, it didn't really become, well, what we know of collage today was made popular by like the Cubists in like Picasso and stuff in the early part of the 20th century. But technically, we're making a collage because we're gluing different types of papers down, but we're going to do it in the same style as a mosaic collage. A lot of times the papers are torn or they're overlapping. Here, we're going to cut our tiles or tessera into specific shapes and leave that border so it does look just like a mosaic. Okay, so there is a process video that I want you guys to review, but basically you want to collect a variety of food packages in different colors. Can be anything from a cereal box, snacks, frozen foods, your frozen pizzas, Pop Tarts, cake mix, whatever you're doing. Save those boxes. Junk mail, magazines, especially like the junk mail, like the postcard type junk mail you might get. Like, I don't know, Optimum is always sending me those sorts of things. And what I would say is save at least one like front or back of a cereal box that you can use as like your foundation that you're going to glue everything to. And then you'll need scissors, glue, pencils optional, pencil you need, sorry, and a ruler is optional. So there's two ways to go with this. We can go organic or a geometric / grid. So organic is the process you'll see in my video where you sketch your design as you desire. It can be any subject matter, still life to a portrait to something that's more abstract. It's up to you. Totally up to you. Just make it really cool. Okay. Here we would be cutting our boxes down into different shapes. You could use squares, rectangles, triangles, even like little tiny slivers. And then you would glue it into your pattern or design, and we would be cutting our shapes to ensure that they really do fit perfectly. So this comes from the Latin, which is one or more lines of tesserae follow the edge of a special shape. So if we look at this duck here, we can see that the artist aligned those, reddish, maroonish tiles around the edge of the shape. Okay. If you want to go the geometric or grid way, you could use a grid to create your design. So it would look very similar to like pixel art. So I have spreadsheets that you can use. I'll show those to you in a second. Um, and you would be basically cutting everything into a perfect grid. So you would want to keep all of your squares the same size, and then you'd be gluing those into your pattern or design. And this comes from Latin as well, or meaning a grid where all tesserae align both vertically and horizontally. So you guys can watch the video tutorial of me actually making it. These are the grid templates. This little video shows you how to use the spreadsheet. Okay, so what you can do is these spreadsheet or these grids are both available in Schoology. You can download them. You can just quickly like draw out your design, color it, like just even put a dot of color in each square so you have a plan of like, okay, well, I need 55 red squares and 23 green squares or whatever you're doing. Um, Also, you can use this spreadsheet, which is really cool. And it's going to ask you to make a copy, but the instructions are right here in this video. So just go ahead and watch that video. No, I'm not full screen anymore. I hate when that happens. Okay, so here would be your grid or pixel designs. These are just examples. You can get like super complex. The smaller the square you use, the more complex your design can be, or you can go super simplified. Let's look at some historical examples. So, like I said, these date back to like the beginning of human history. These are some examples from ancient Greece. Actually, this style where they're using sort of these like larger white and black round stones to create giant floors are still used in various elements of architecture in Greece. Like the village my father is from, the floor all around the church in the middle of the village is designed with that. So a lot of times they were doing floors like this with images. Like here we see Medusa. Ancient Rome, same deal. Here you can kind of see that this one is sort of a grid pattern, right, along the edge, and we see this really cool border going on. In here, with the still life, because it's more of an organic shape with the bowl of fruit, we see where the little squares are aligned around the outside edge of that shape. Here we have a really cool geometric pattern mixed in with that organic element as well. Islamic art, um, amazing mosaics. Some of the mosques are completely covered in mosaic and they're incredibly stunning. This is a photo of a mihrab or a prayer wall. And if you look really closely at it, you can find this image actually on the Metropolitan Museum of Art's website. You can see these little tiny tiles and how they get this like insane amount of detail, but you can see that it's a repetitive pattern. We see geometric patterns mixed in with these organic curvy lines. So a really nice mix um, there. And we also see this in Byzantine and early Christian art as they were starting to build bigger and better churches, you know, as technology developed and we were going to like more of a monotheistic religion in Europe versus like ancient Rome and ancient Greece, where we believed in a bunch of gods. We were focusing on the stories of the Bible. Um, we needed to tell that story. Most people couldn't read. So on the sides of churches inside, they were designing these elaborate illustrations to tell the story of the Bible using mosaic. A lot of them had like gold in them, really pretty. Louis Comfort Tiffany is also known for stained glass. This is much later, obviously, in the United States, but also known for using those glass pieces. He was a designer of glass, making them into mosaics as well as the lamps that you probably are all familiar with. Here we also see sort of inspired by the Byzantine churches with the gold element in the background, but in an Art Nouveau style. So mosaic is an art form that's been around forever, and artists are always using it in different ways. Different cultures use it in different ways. I really want you guys to check out this artist. So he has taken contemporary elements like Middle Eastern food packaging. He's cut them up and created these mosaics on top of um, models he's made of different elements from artwork. A lot of it that has been either destroyed or was looted during various like a bunch of the stuff was taken from a museum, I believe it was in Baghdad, when ISIS attacked, and they took a bunch of things. So he is trying to remember it, but then also, modernize it. So really interesting stuff. So definitely take a look at his work. But you can see all of this is made out of food packaging. So I thought it was a really nice way to sort of tie in everything we're talking about with this project. Here's more examples of mosaics. A lot of these are contemporary examples, but a mosaic, because of the durability of the material they're typically made out of, rocks and stone and glass and tile, they can be put anywhere as long as you have tile adhesive. So here's some steps, buildings. Here we can see sort of a simplified elephant, and you see everything is cut in the same size. Everything is sort of based like with that little square. But then something here, we see all different shapes, but that all of the shapes align perfectly, right? This artist also I would recommend that you take a look at. I'll make sure that this is hyperlinked to their website. But this is all made out of junk mail. So again, we can see everything is cut into these perfect little squares. I mean, we see a couple of little triangles here and there, but we get these beautiful gradients happening. These geometric elements sort of inspired by some of the traditional mosaics. But yeah, you can use junk mail, and then using food packaging or junk mail or whatever that might have text on it can be pretty interesting because it'll add like another element of texture to your piece. These are traditional glass tile mosaics. This is sort of in progress, and here is the finished piece. I love that Oscar the Grouch is in it. These are just some photos of what it actually looks like to be using tiles and adhesive and grout and all of that. So your process will be a little bit easier. I also want to show you the work of Alma Thomas. These are not mosaics, they are paintings, but it could inspire your mosaic design. So she uses little tiny paint strokes to create these abstract paintings. So you should check her work out as well. We can take some inspiration from nature, landscapes, trees. You can mix up the size and shape of your mosaic tiles. Like here we see like all of these like little skinny pieces versus more of like these weird trapezoidal or triangular pieces. So it's up to you how you make this work. Some more pieces inspired by nature, still life, animals. Okay, you can go for more of an abstract design. You could be inspired by the idea of like a mandala. Also, I liked this piece. It's circular, so your final piece doesn't have to be confined to a square or a rectangle. Even if you have something that you could glue the tiles to, you could go for that too as well. It doesn't have to be flat. It could also be three-dimensional. Still life as an inspiration. I love this little fox. He's so cute. And that is pretty much it. Okay, so that's mosaic in a nutshell. Take a look at the videos that I shared with you. Take a look at the templates and start collecting your boxes. Start cutting them up. I would keep them organized by color to make your life easier. So, use little Ziploc bags or a muffin tin or something like that where you can keep all of your colors organized as you work. Just a little bit of Elmer's glue or really any kind of glue you have at home is fine. And you will be on your way to a really cool project. Thanks for watching. Have fun.